I have these canvas bags that I like to use. These are good for produce. You can also buy the netted bags, like the mesh bags. They sell those at, I've bought some at Trader Joe's. I've also bought some at Kroger. Of course, you could buy anything on Etsy or online. So this is good for putting stuff like oats, like loose oats or loose flour. But I could also put things like carrots. I find it really silly to use the plastic produce bags. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine, especially when I see people putting like 2 bananas into a plastic bag. Most produce doesn't need a bag at all because it's got a skin on it that you're either going to wash or peel off. But obviously you don't want to just have loose grapes rolling around in your cart. So bags like this, I use smaller bags for smaller things, like these little cute bags that I just bought on Etsy. Well, I bought them a long time ago, but I bought them off of Etsy, and I would put like maybe loose rice, or I might put nuts, loose nuts, or popcorn, things like that. You can also use little paper bags. These ones might hold spices. They have loose coffee beans that you can buy. And then I also have a couple of containers that I use for peanut butter and honey and oil and agave. These are plastic, so of course, as soon as I fill these, I bring them home, transfer everything into jars, and wash these out and put them back in the car. It's definitely a process that you get used to over time, taking your giant bag or bin or box of supplies with you. And I've definitely forgotten and had to run back out to my car and get what I needed. So give yourself grace and don't expect yourself to be perfect immediately. But this is what I have with me. This is what I take when I do my shopping. And as I said, I go once a month to those 2 grocery stores, and then I go every week to our local Kroger. That trip is typically just for produce, so that takes me only like 20 minutes or so. And that way I'm saving time. So zero waste is also about saving your time, giving yourself more time. So I go to the grocery store, I get my huge amount of food for the month. And then when I come home, I make 2 big meals a week. Typically, I make those meals on Sunday and Tuesday. And then those 2 meals we eat off of again. So we eat leftovers 2 days a week. And that really works for my family. Another idea that we tried several years ago was to do a rotation where Monday we always had a pasta. Tuesday we always had a dough dish like quiche, tortillas, pizza. Wednesday we always had a soup. Thursday we always had a grain. And that is a good option for people who like cooking more or who have more time. But I realize 2 meals a week is great for my family. So that's what we do. Excuse me. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I showed you my plastic containers, and I found a statistic just this last week that kind of makes my point really clearly. The average American consumes roughly 5 grams, the weight of a credit card of plastic every single week. We consume that through water bottles. We consume that through plastic containers leaching into our food. We are ingesting that equivalent of plastic every single week. So whatever you can do to rid your family and your body and your life of plastic is beneficial. So some of the ways we do that is we store everything in our pantry in jars, glass jars. We buy things that are raw or in bulk, so we don't have to buy in plastic containers. We bring our own bags, so we don't have to have plastic containers. When we go to restaurants, we bring our own containers to take home our leftovers so that we don't have to take a plastic container. Even some of those are recyclable or compostable these days, but even still, that's one less piece of waste if you bring your own container. And they look at you a little weird the first time, but a lot of people will kind of look at you and be intrigued, and that's an opportunity to share with them why you're doing it and educate them about the benefits of it. So that is grocery in a nutshell.
So one thing you didn't mention, and I don't know if you have yours, but the founder of the Zero Waste strives to have their waste into, I think it's about this size jar.
Yeah, it is.
For her family of 4.
Yeah.
And obviously, so she has the 5 R's, which I don't know if you were going to talk about. So that is astounding to me.
Yes.
Because most of us make a garbage bag or 2 a week for our families,
right.
And they make this for the whole year.
Yes. So they are extremely dedicated to being zero waste. So this is the woman I mentioned, Bea Johnson. Yes, she and her family make approximately a quart-sized jar of trash for the entire year. That is their trash output. And that is amazing and wonderful and not realistic for my family. But we strive for smaller goals than that. We do make so much less trash than we made prior to becoming a low waste family. And we are not zero waste. We're definitely not zero waste, but we strive to be. That's our goal. And yes, the ways that she does that are recycling and reusing and composting. She calls it rot. You let your food rot. Where we live here on the West Coast, we have compost service that is part of our trash. So tomorrow is Friday. So tomorrow our trash gets picked up, our compost gets picked up, and our recycle gets picked up. All 3 on the same day. We pay one bill and it's all included. Most cities don't have that. I've never lived somewhere that has that before I moved here to Washington. So what works for your family is going to be different than what works for mine, but I'm just giving you some suggestions to strive towards being a little bit better and doing what you can, what you're comfortable with, and what works for your family. Yeah. So maybe that's something you can mention to your city and, put a little bug in the ear of your waste management company. Okay, so I'm going to move on from groceries, and if people have questions, I'm happy to answer those on the back end, but I want to be sure to get to hit some other categories also. So the next category I'm going to talk about is holidays and gift giving. This is pretty simple. We changed to a new mindset when we decided to become a low waste family, and the new mindset is time together and experiences and not junk. Not gifts that are junk that we don't need, that my children don't want, and that ultimately are going to end up in the landfill. So when it comes to the holidays, if you celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Christmas, and we don't have a Christmas tree anymore. We did have a plastic Christmas tree for a long time, but we decided to go, because that lived in our shed for 11 months of the year, taking up space. We just needed that space. We wanted that space. So we use a plant as our Christmas tree. We have a big peace lily that lives in our house full time, and for the holidays, that becomes our Christmas tree. We decorate it with ornaments. We put presents under it. It's smaller than a 6-foot tree, but it's still wonderful, and it's still the same idea. We still have a tree and we're using it in the same way that people would use a Christmas tree. What I do with my family for the last few years, when my boys were smaller and now as they're getting older, we do something called SFA, which stands for Surprise Family Activities. And every year we have an envelope of the SFAs that are on the Christmas tree that we use throughout the year as our special surprise family activities. And these are all experiences. Nothing is a material gift, but they're all experiences that we end up sharing together and doing together and spending time together as a family. A lot of them revolve around food, like having an ice cream day, or having a dessert day where we make different desserts and then we have those to eat off of all year. We've done things like go bowling, go to the zoo, go to a new restaurant, kayaking, kite flying, go to the lake, camping in the backyard, go for a picnic, really simple things like watch a movie together, go to a national park. It's a little harder with COVID, so we've done a lot of things virtually, but we're sort of phasing back out of that now. We like to do gifts to one another that are things such as I'll do your chores for you for a day. My husband and I will take one of the kids and we'll go have dates with the kids, and then we'll swap. And another week we'll do dates with the other kid. Gift cards, of course, that can be reloaded year after year. And consumables, that's a big, it's a wonderful way to give gifts. Consumables can be things that you've made, things that you've bought. You can patronize a small business in your area and you can give someone a dozen cookies. You can give someone, if it's something that you know they like a big jar of nuts, a candy that you've bought in bulk that you know they love. Things that you can make yourself that are pretty simple. Homemade soap, homemade candles, homemade lip balm. Plants are a wonderful gift. Most people love receiving plants. Cash, who doesn't love receiving cash? All of these are ideas that you can give and feel good about giving, knowing that you're not giving junk and giving things that are probably not going to last very long, but the memories of the things that you are giving will hopefully really stick with you. And it definitely has brought our family a lot closer to do experiences. It's a little bit harder to get family members on board who still really want to give a big plastic something to my children for Christmas. But if you make clear to them that you're striving to be a low waste family, here are the reasons why. Hopefully they'll honor and support that. And if not, then present them with a list of ideas. Get my kids movie tickets, buy us tickets to go see a play, give us a gift card to our favorite restaurant, give us a gift card for $50 worth of ice cream. That'll, last us through the year. All ideas that are low waste or zero waste. And I feel like they're much more meaningful and have really gone a long way, especially things that are homemade. Everybody loves that. Okay. Moving on. Next category is traveling. Traveling, zero waste. We've done a lot less of it this last year, especially long haul traveling. But I'll talk about both. Short haul traveling, just traveling around your area. We always have a bag in the back of our van that's kind of like a picnic in a bag that's ready to go, where we have things like camping dishware, metal cups and metal plates, and we have cutlery, and we have cloth napkins, and those things just live in the van. So if we want to have a picnic, all we have to bring from the house is the food, and we already have all the supplies in the car ready to go. You should have plates and cups and flatware and napkins. And it's also a good idea to keep a few jars or metal bento containers in the car. If you have leftovers from a restaurant, you can just run out to the car and grab it. So those things just live in the car. And then if you're taking a longer trip on an airplane, for example, it was a little bit of an adjustment for us, but we now always bring with us water bottles, metal or glass, that we can refill once you get through security. Also, in addition to that, we always bring our own food. So we bring a little lunch sack, and it's got in it our snacks and our food, so we don't have to take any of the little teeny tiny prepackaged snacks from the airplane, cookies or peanuts. All of those are in the little tiny sachet packets like a chips bag that are completely unrecyclable and 100% in the landfill. And there's already millions of them in there, so no need to add any more. So that's how we travel. And yeah, that's pretty nice and pretty simple. Okay, my next category.
Question. There was a question from earlier. Do you want to answer that now or do you want to wait?
I can answer it, sure.
So Deb asked, what do you put your compost in for the trash man?
That's a great question. You want to go grab our little compost so I can show the group? I'll have my son go get it. The city actually provides to us a little container that we just keep under the sink, and you can buy those at any zero waste store. You can buy a stainless steel one. Some people keep it up on their counter because it's kind of fancy looking. Ours is not. Ours is just this plastic one. We keep it under the sink. So, oh, he's telling me it's full. So it looks like this. This was provided by the city. And as we make compost, we just put it into that. We also have a bigger one that's like a small trash can size that's right next to our trash can in our pantry. And then, you know, at the end of the week, we take that and we dump it into our huge, like 100-gallon one that we roll out onto the street. So they take yard waste and compost all together in the same bin. So there'll be grass clippings and branches and, you know, food scraps all in there. And that comes every single week. Our trash and our recycle only comes every other week because they're trying to promote composting to have people put that out every single week. So again, it's an adjustment and it's a process, and you do have to dump it fairly regularly or it starts to stink, but you can usually get through up to a week. I put a lot of essential oil and baking soda in the bottom of ours, and that cuts away the stench quite a bit. Okay, great. All right. Moving on to wardrobe. The main point of your wardrobe, or the sort of mantra that I try to stick by, is if you don't love it, chuck it. And when I say chuck it, of course, I don't mean chuck it in the garbage. I mean, donate it to a thrift store or a family who has kids that are your kids' ages if they're growing out of their clothes. I'm in a group here called Buy Nothing. I know they have that there in Crystal Lake, and you can pass your clothes on to other people. You can do a swap with friends. If you don't love it, chuck it. So how do I take my full to the gills wardrobe and pare it down to a reasonable amount of clothing? Everyone's needs are going to be different. You might work in an office, you might be a school teacher, you might be a stay-at-home parent, you might work from home. These days, most of us are working from home. So your wardrobe might be yoga pants and t-shirts, or it might be dress up wear for the office. I've never worked in an office, so whatever those clothes are, something fancier than I have. The idea is to pare down your wardrobe to a length that is reasonable for you. So one possible way to do that, to start thinning out your wardrobe, is to, every time you wear an item of clothing, turn it inside out before you put it back in your closet. So you turn it inside out and you put it on the hanger, or you put it in your drawer, or you put it on your shelf. And that will give you a really simple way to visually notice, these are the clothes I wear the most. You'll quickly find out that you probably wear the same 5 to 10 outfits already. Like, that's what you wear. Most people just wear the same clothes. Yes, you could also turn the hanger around if that's something that will help your eyes see it better. I found that by turning them inside out when I wear them, it kind of helps me recognize, oh wow, I do love this sweater and I haven't worn it for a really long time. Let me start wearing it. It also helps me recognize, yeah, I haven't worn this shirt all season. Why am I holding on to it? Obviously, I don't love it, so I can chuck it. I can give it away. that's a great way to start thinning out your closet, is to just recognize, here's the clothes I wear the most. So these must be the clothes I love, the ones that are the most comfortable, the ones that make me feel good when I wear them. So once you kind of can track the frequency of how you wear your clothes, then you can start thinning it out. You can take all your t-shirts, separating them by color really works for me. That's how I store mine in my closet, is I have them sort of grouped by color. And then you can see, okay, here's all my t-shirts. I have 5 black t-shirts. Why do I need 5 black t-shirts? Let me pick my favorite 1 or 2, and I can chuck the rest. And that can also help you decide what's a reasonable number for you. What's reasonable for me as a stay-at-home teacher, who most of my life is on the floor with my kids doing learning, isn't going to be the same outfit that you're going to wear if you work in the supermarket or work at the bank. So you kind of need to figure out what works for you. But I've discovered that thinning out my wardrobe is one of the #1 ways that my life has de-stressed. And that sounds a little weird, but just walking into my closet and seeing less just makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you don't have 300 choices. I only have this limited amount of choices. So it's a lot easier to pick my wardrobe out every day. And it makes me feel good knowing that the clothes that I have are the clothes that I truly love. So it might work for you to say, okay, 7 long sleeve shirts works for me, and 5 pair of pants works, and a couple of mix and match sweaters or jackets, and I'm set. But I would suggest that you start by taking a look at everything you have and using whatever method to pare it down works for you. Same goes for everything you own. So thin out your belts, thin out your scarves, thin out your hats, thin out your purses, thin out your jackets, thin out your shoes. Shoes is a hard one. Women tend to have more shoes, just statistically, and women tend to love their shoes. I don't. I'm fine. I just have like 2 pair of sneakers, a pair of sandals, a pair of boots, and some galoshes. So for me, shoes aren't a big deal. But if they are for you, try the same system. Try thinning them out. Maybe put them upside down after you've worn them instead of inside out. Some sort of a system that might help you thin it out. Yeah, that and your wardrobe, wardrobe is always changing. So feel okay about going to a thrift store and buying some new clothes, especially if you know that you're taking some clothes to give away at the same time. I keep a pile in my closet, kind of on one of my lower shelves, that I just constantly add to as I realize these are the clothes that I don't love, that I don't wear. So I'm adding to my pile, and then when my pile gets, a good size, I can take that and I can donate those clothes, and look at all the space that I have now where my clothes were. So that is my wardrobe section of the speech. I'm going to move on unless there was a question about that. My next category is personal care items. So I make most of my personal care items. I make my own face cream and sunscreen and deodorant and face wash and lip balm and makeup and hairspray. I make all those items myself. It is definitely not difficult. It is super duper cheap, and it is easy. All of those, everything I make, there's probably no more than 2, 3, or 4 ingredients. All of them I use glass jars. So some of them, as you can see, are like former honey pots that I just washed out and use. I use Old Spice jars. This is where I keep my blush that I put on my face. I keep them all in glass jars, going back to not wanting to put plastic in my body. And I keep these in the bathroom, obviously, and I replenish them as needed. A couple of things that I don't buy are shampoo and conditioner. I'm sorry, that I don't make, that I do buy only because I haven't found any shampoo or conditioner that I like that works for my hair, but I would advise you to try. Shampoo bars are very popular. Those are definitely zero waste because you use them like a bar of soap and then they're gone. And I know they sell one at Trader Joe's. They definitely sell them all over Etsy. Almost everything I'm talking about you could buy on Etsy. And I'm not paid by Etsy, but I do love Etsy. So I definitely recommend that because a lot of the sellers on Etsy are stay-at-home moms, and nice to support them. So it's very easy to find a recipe for any of those things that I just mentioned, DIY deodorant or whatever it is, online. I'm happy to share my recipes at the end if that's something that interests you. But I would say personal care items are one of the highest concentrations of just plastics and just pollutants. If you can't pronounce it on the bottle, then you probably don't want to be putting it on or in your person. So start somewhere small. Start by making lip balm, and then if you love it, stick with it and try adding something else. And just see what works for you and your family. We had some ups and downs with making deodorant over the years, and we finally found one that works. So hooray. Okay, so that was that. And I guess sort of towards the end of the webinar, I just wanted to kind of talk about a couple of odds and ends of things, such as junk mail. Junk mail is a problem. Junk mail is super frustrating, and we've dealt with it for many years. We are only just lately starting to get it under control. A couple of options for when you get junk mail. One option is to keep a pen in your mailbox, and when you receive junk mail, you can write directly on the front of it, refused, return to sender, take me off your mailing list. That works. I've done it. It doesn't work every time, but it does work. Another option, if you're getting junk magazines, so let's say my mom sends us something from Harry and David, so they have our address now and they start sending us a magazine every month or every quarter. I don't want it. I'm never going to buy anything out of there. Stop sending me your magazine. You call them, you say, take me off your list. They do it. They're required to do it. And that takes, 2 to 5 minutes of your time. Yes, but it's worth not having to get that magazine any longer. You can talk to your mail carrier. You can tell them, we're not going to be accepting junk mail anymore. And oftentimes they understand and they can help you out. When you move, if you're moving your personal residence, if you're moving homes, you have to fill out a change of address card through the post office. Always put a temporary change of address. Always do a temporary change. Here's why. If you put a permanent change of address, all of your information is accessible to thousands of solicitors wanting to sell you new gutters and yard work and house cleaning and all these things. If you say that you're moving temporarily, then they aren't going to send you nearly as much because they think you're just there for a short time. So that's super helpful. I didn't know that in time before we moved here. I wish I would have. And yeah, you can write on the mail, you can call, and you can tell them, do not sell, rent, share, or trade my information. And they're supposed to honor that. Let's hope they do. Couple of last things that I wanted to talk about. When you have something that you are ready to be rid of, if it's in working condition and it doesn't have to go in the garbage can and eventually end up in the landfill, if it's still in working order, recycle it. There are recycling options for everything. Things you would never think are recyclable are. And I don't mean in your city can, because it's recyclable there. Your city can tell you that. If it's something that's not recyclable in your city can, but you think it might be recyclable, I would urge you to find a way to recycle it. And it's as simple as just putting it in your search bar. How do I recycle a backpack? Whatever it might be. One of the links that Megan is going to share with you at the end of the webinar is for the Bea Johnson woman that I've been speaking about. It's Zero Waste Home. And in that website and in her book, she lists just tons and tons and tons and tons of places that will take your recyclables from you. Some of them you have to mail, and that's a little bit obnoxious, but if you feel good about doing it with a purpose, then maybe that will help you make that choice. But we live in a very trash-friendly society. We live in a world that's all about single use, one time. It's all over TV, and it's just the culture that we've come to accept, but we don't have to accept it. You can choose to say no. You can choose to say, I'm not going to use paper towels. I'm just going to use cloths. You just saved yourself a ton of money, not buying a roll of paper towels every week, just doing a load of old cloths, old washcloths, old cloth diapers, old rags. You don't have to accept the throwaway culture that has come to be normal. You can make a better choice for yourself and your family. And I hope that this kind of gives you some ideas and a starting point to want to do that. My hope is that after you hear what I have to say, you will make the decision to start simple and never look back. I know I haven't looked back. I can't be happier with our decision to go zero waste. It just feels great. Every time I find a way to get rid of something to save my family some money, it feels wonderful because we can put that towards things that really matter to us. And yes, it saved us so much money over the years. It's amazing. So, yeah, that's my advice. Start simple and never look back. Don't feel overwhelmed. It can be super overwhelming, especially if you have a lot of stuff, which we definitely had when we started this journey. I told you this journey started 6 years ago. We're still on it. So give yourself a lot of grace. Start with one drawer, start with one closet, start with one cupboard in your pantry. Even cleaning one space will make you feel good about yourself and your choices. I thought of something else that goes back to gift giving that I just wanted to add in quickly. This year for my son's birthday, my sister sent him a subscription for a chocolate tasting class. We live near the chocolate company Theo, and because they used to have visits to their factory and now everything's virtual, so she gave my son for his birthday a chocolate tasting, and it was maybe one of the best gifts he's ever received. They send you a little box of chocolate, and then you do this virtual class where they have you taste it and, you know, give your feedback on it. So what kid's not going to love a big box of chocolate, and then you get to learn how chocolate's made and the whole process. So I urge you to find interesting, affordable, and fun gifts that are an alternative to something that's not going to be nearly as exciting. Okay, so that's kind of what I have to share tonight. I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Otherwise, I wish everyone success on their journey, and I'm happy to help with any questions that you might have along the way.
I will be sending a follow-up email with a lot of links. And we do have the book that Allison mentioned by Bea Johnson at the library. Of course, you know, we're closed right now, but you can pick up the book in Cary or Algonquin or McHenry, or I'm not sure if Huntley has reopened their library yet either. But I'll send the link to that book as well as her website, which has lots of information. And just what Allison said, that there's so many options for gift giving, you know, right now because of COVID. there's so many more options. So many places have, turned their business model around to really open things up for virtual, wine tastings, beer tastings, a lot of neat things going on. So if anybody has questions, put it in the Q&A. Otherwise, we will close out and say thank you so much for coming tonight. There is a question. How long of a transition did it take to become zero waste family? 1 year, shorter, longer?
Oh, definitely longer. Yes, I would say we're still doing it now. We had a little kid. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. We had a little kid in diapers when we started, and we used cloth diapers, but overnight he was a super peer, so we couldn't use cloth overnight. So for many years, we were still using disposable diapers. So that took up a lot of space in our garbage can, and only recently have we not had to have diapers. So still a journey, but I would say within our first year, we saw a lot of changes, and it gets easier because as you start feeling good about having less stuff in one space, it becomes easier to make that more spaces. So like I said, give yourself grace, but start small.
It depends on how much you want to put into it too. If you want to take on your full-time job as going zero waste, things are going to go quicker. But if you want to slowly build to that, which great, both are great options, whatever works best for your family and for yourself and for your sanity, because it's a lot, it's a lot to just clear out all your shelves, your bathroom shelves and your cleaning supplies. And, it's a lot.
Right.
But there are so many great resources online. She was saying, to get started, KonMari, has the
definitely
finding joy and getting rid of things method. That's one way, but that's certainly not the only way. And we have so many resources at the library, both virtual ebooks, audiobooks, but also just online. There's so many, you can find a list. The first 10 things.
I would say, challenge yourself to just replace one thing that you run out of in the bathroom. You run out of some skincare product, just challenge yourself to say, hey, I'm going to try to make it myself and see if it works and see if you like it. And if it does, then the next time you run out of a different product, try to replace that one.
Okay, well, I don't see any more questions. So thank you so much, Allison, for taking your time to be with us and share your knowledge. And thank you everyone for joining us tonight, and hope to see you all again soon.
Okay, bye.